Are you just coming back to WoW after a long break and not sure what to do or how to gear up as a casual, mostly solo player? The latest patch 9.2.7 news pop-up screen that will greet you in the game is helpful, no doubt, but it definitely doesn't include anything else that you might have missed before it dropped, right? And also it definitely is not giving you enough direction to follow, so here is where I hopefully can help you out. Hello and welcome back to the channel, I'm Gyro. Hit the like button to say hi back and to help YouTube algorithm to see that the video is helpful for you so it can show it to more returning players. Use the chapters in the timeline and description of the video to navigate quicker if you're impatient, as the video is deliberately detailed, which makes it rather long. To make one last thing very clear before we begin, this is not a new player guide to WoW in general, it's a returning player guide to the latest few patches that you've missed. Let's jump into it then. So first things first, if you have left WoW before Zereth Mortis zone was added, then needless to say that we will talk first about how to unlock it, because you will need to follow the main quest line of your campaign from Oribos, from the key players there, to go and unlock it. Quests will first offer you to unlock Korthia zone, and depending on if you have done it already or not on this particular character, you might need to do that before you can go to Zereth Mortis. I could skip because I play an alt for this example and my main has already did it. Thank you Blizzard for actually giving us these skips, by the way, otherwise I do not know how I would have survived. It might be needless to say, but I will say it anyway, you don't need anything from Korthia at this stage of the game, so just complete intro quests and get out of there. Or skip it altogether, once again, if you can do it like I did. Next, if you are playing an alt character like I do in this case, that doesn't have Renown above level 60, but you have a main that perhaps has this Renown at the very top, which is 80 right now, rank 80. The very first thing for you to do is to go to the flight point in Oribos and talk to this little dude on the side here. He sells your alts a Renown booster to level 60, which is very handy, as you'll want to get all of those Soulbind Conduits as quickly as possible in place ASAP, as those will boost your survivability and DPS quite dramatically in some cases. So, if you don't have Zereth Mortis unlocked, now you can go and unlock it by following the questline after you've boosted your Renown. Why now, after boosting the Renown and not before? Because many steps of Zereth Mortis unlock questline will give you plus Renown rank, and it would make zero sense to bring your, say, Renown 20 character, get some good +6, +7 to Renown as you finish Zereth Mortis unlock questline, and then you would go and use that 60 booster anyway, right? So you'd better add it first and then end up doing the Zereth Mortis quests, and by the end, when you have unlocked world quests in Zereth Mortis zone as the kind of end of the unlock, so to speak, your Renown will be closer to 70 rather than 60. Does it make sense? So follow this sequence. Now, if you're still in Zereth Mortis, next question once again is, how is your gear and how is your item level? If it is low, which is likely, let's say below eye level 200, where you left your alt or main before you left WoW like I did a few months ago, first thing to do is to get any free gear pieces from that Zereth Mortis unlock questline. If you had to do it, you would already have a few. After you finish the unlock of Zereth Mortis, then you go to this little dude in Heaven who sells some green but better than your old gear for Anima. As those are bind on account pieces, you don't even need to have all that Anima stashed on this particular alt that you are currently gearing. You could just buy it for the alt and mail it over from your main or from some other characters. That's what I often do. This will boost your eye level instantly, from something that you'll struggle to kill even any Zereth Mortis trash with, to something that would be at least somewhat reasonable. Do not buy particularly one of the rings, as there is one absolutely guaranteed blue ring, and it's high item level 2, from one of those treasure chests that are quite plentiful on Zereth Mortis, and they are right on top of the big overgrown ball next to Heaven. Now you would ask me, how would you track all these numerous treasures and the rares? Well, you just go and download the good old Rare Scanner add-on from CurseForge, and you'll be set, my friend. Other than your map and minimap will never look the same because they'll be all looking now very cluttered as hell. But this is honestly lesser evil compared to all the good stuff that it does for you, especially when you are just freshly returning, you want all those treasures, you want all that extra cosmic flux from all these boxes and all these chests that you'll be opening, so just go install the add-on and enjoy. Next thing that you've missed since you've been away is the whole fated boss and fated raids thing. It basically means that Blizzard, very smartly, every week rotates between raids plus one world boss in any of Shadowlands zones, including the Maw, and marks those with a special kind of mark in the selection or on the map. You can see it. This little mark means that the encounter will be a bit harder, who cares, we bum rush those anyway, right? And that you will get much higher item level gear. Something along the lines of 265 plus, which is absolutely nothing to sneeze at for a half-naked casual returning to the game, right? So let's say if this week Antros, world boss in Zereth Mortis, is fated, that's your first stop to go to once you've unlocked the world quest in Zereth Mortis, of course. Join a raid group, try your luck for a potentially very kick-ass drop that will make your day. If Antros, by the way, is not fated this week in Zereth Mortis, go kill him anyway, because even not being fated, he still drops item level 259 gear, which probably is better than what you're wearing right now anyway, and at the moment of recording of this video, for me, with my returning alt, it's good gear anyway. Next thing that Blizzard very kindly added were class gear sets that have a nifty, but I'd say not completely game-changing, set bonuses. For some classes they're better, for some classes by the looks of it not so much. Obviously you want those set bonuses as quickly as you can get them. To get those gear pieces, you basically need to take any of the major pieces, let's call them, of your existing rating gear or Mythic Plus gear. PvP gear doesn't work, I don't think. Such as chest, helmet, pants, gloves, that kind of thing. To a spot in the south of Zereth Mortis, to a specific kinda altar or interface, you can call it, where you can upgrade one of those gear pieces to a set piece for a relatively steep price of Cosmic Flux. What's Cosmic Flux, you ask? Well, if you're asking me that question, that might be going a lot further than I was planning to go in this quick guide. Basically, you get Cosmic Flux from almost every significant activity or treasure chest in Zereth Mortis in small amounts, and from raiding these days actually quite a lot, including LFR. Blizzard also gave us a shortcut to learning all of the class Soulbind Conduits, once you've gained a friendly with Enlightened in Zereth Mortis. Which is very easy, to be honest with you, and you should get there after just unlocking Zereth Mortis and maybe doing a couple of other world quests. Then you should be friendly with them. You buy the thing, you take it to the Forge of Bones, you learn it, and boom, you have all conduits at a, well, reasonable level for a naked alt. And it's quite good, I think. Definitely improves accessibility of the game for all of us who skipped a few months. Next, I'd queue for Fated LFR, as that has a bunch of quests that will reward you with stuff, as well as potential of nice and juicy epic loot that I know you love just as much as I do. Next, Blizzard has actually changed Mythic Plus system quite a bit, and I am going to talk about this at a very high level, not going into any new affixes such as Shrouded, because first of all, I'm not a Mythic Plus specialist, and we probably both don't care about this at this stage as freshly returning players. What they did, that's quite awesome, though, is added a few old dungeons. In this particular case, at the moment of recording of this video, we have some dungeons from Warlords of Draenor and BFA in the current Season 4 of Shadowlands expansion. It's kinda in the rotation for Mythic Plus. So in other words, there are 3 portals right next to the Flight Master in Oribos that can take you close to where the dungeons are, such as Gogrond or Mechagon. I think it's absolutely genius to let us run old content for the whole season if we want to, while earning the same high level rewards. My personal favorite is to tank Iron Docks. I find the dungeon very straightforward and enjoyable for some weird reason, don't ask me why, especially once I got my new bear form. Now, as a bonus activity and something that I would totally recommend if you're returning to the game and looking for something to sink your teeth into, is the Mage Tower Challenge, especially if you're a Guardian Druid. Then you just have no excuse, in my humble opinion, to not get the best form that ever existed in the game before Dragonflight arrives and our attention will shift somewhere. If you're not a Guardian Druid, you only get a transmog set for your current class, most of which, let's be honest, are quite lame, and only one, in my humble opinion, is worth your trouble. It is the Warlock set with wings. That one is pretty cool. Maybe also the Warrior one. Look them up on Wowhead. I'm not going to go through it in great detail. I'm personally at the moment investing minimal amount of time in trying to get my Warlock also up to speed and trying to put my Warlock through the Mage Tower Challenge, but nowhere nearly as much as the intensity and time that I put into it when I was getting my bear form. There is a separate guide on my channel for the Druid. Follow the guide and you will get the form. Buy me a coffee later. Then, the next thing that you've missed, which I honestly think is quite awesome, is the so-called Curious Coin or Puzzling Cartel Dinar vendor system. In case you're wondering what that funny dinar word means, it's the name of a traditional Persian coin, by the way. There you go, you've learned something new today. There are these three dodgy-looking enlightened fellas in the, close to the Great Vault in Oribos on the right of it, and they sell the best possible gear for those coins. I'm talking best in slot weapons, trinkets, you name it. You get these coins for things like killing 30 fated raid bosses, which will obviously take you about 3 weeks of fully clearing an LFR raid, if LFR is all you do. Obviously, you will get there much quicker if you clear raids on other difficulties. I suspect that you can get those dinars from some other activities, but LFR is mostly what I do, other than Mythic Plus here and there, so I actually, to be honest with you, I don't know. Obviously, these coins are hard to come by, and you can only get 3, yes, maximum of 3 in the whole Season 4 of Shadowlands. But that should be more than enough if, say, first coin goes to your best weapon possibly you can get, and the other 2 you will spend on trinkets. Do your own research and what is recommended currently as the best item to get for your class and spec. Once again, Wowhead is obviously a very good destination for anyone who is more or less serious about it. Finally, there is PvP, which is not a bad option to get some gear for the slots that you're struggling to fill otherwise. The PvP vendors and quest givers here in the Enclave of Oribos will have a few new quests for you that you can kinda complete rather easily, and they give you a pretty easy honor. Conquest points, if you are not a hardcore even PvPer and all you do is queue for an epic battleground and treat it as one of the big raids where you just pew from the distance with not much personal responsibility. Things like Ashran or Wintergrasp give massive amounts of honor, which you'd always, then use to buy the gear and upgrade it to pretty high item levels. It gets quite expensive with those upgrades per piece, if you ask my opinion, so I'd rather run LFR or Mythic Plus, to be completely honest with you, but on an odd occasion, you can resort to this type of gearing. As an honorable mention, there is still Legendary Powers and Torghast, the worst solo content system ever while we're on it, but they have improved it somewhat over time by giving us this box of many things that kinda counters all the bad things that happen to you in Torghast, giving you extra powers and extra kind of conveniences such as blessings. Firstly, you can get all of those legendary powers from the Enlightened vendor in Heaven, by the way, once you have reached Honored with the Enlightened, which might not happen on your alt instantly, especially if you're not investing too much time into Zereth Mortis. So this is the main reason why I'm mentioning this and why you might still need to go into typically layer 3+ of Torghast to get some of those powers, legendary powers, such as Memory of Ursok. That is my absolute favorite and arguably best power that ever existed for Guardian Druids. You'll also need to grind Torghast to get Cosmic Flux and Soul Ash to upgrade your legendaries, to keep up with the steep climb of the item levels if that's your thing. I personally absolutely hate Torghast with a passion, but had to do this on a couple of alts I'm playing right now because I need average higher item level to keep running remotely fun and challenging Mythic Plus. I'll also mention that Blizzard apparently also added a way for you to equip a second legendary, believe it or not. So just look it up on Wowhead once again for exact instructions. Just be aware that they have kinda given you a second legendary possibility. Why kinda? Because this second legendary isn't just any legendary power, unfortunately, but a special legendary power that you craft once and then it changes dynamically for the power of your covenant, even if you switch covenants. Did I mention that you can switch covenants right now without too much reprimand other than losing your renown level? Well, yes, you can. You can have two legendaries now equipped, technically, but at the same time the second one might be not exactly what you had in mind, such as Guardian Druid main these days, I would have loved to have Memory of Ursok and a Luffa infused Embrace, let's say, but I couldn't have that even in the best case scenario, which is why getting through the campaign and to the campaign stage where I could finally craft that second legendary is actually not a massive priority for me right now. But it might be for you, and it's something that you've definitely missed while you've been away, and something that you might want to invest your time into now that you're back. Overall, in my opinion, 9.2.7 is a lot more fun than the game used to be when Zereth Mortis was just released and when I exactly left the game for what felt like a few quite long months. I have fun in the game right now, gearing my alts, running, the old Mythic Plus dungeons from Warlords of Draenor, and doing occasional pew-pew in Ashran. I hope this guide helps you get back into WoW and enjoy it while it lasts. I play the game while it continues to be fun for me. I stop and switch to something else once I lose interest. This is sadly what happened for me with Path of Exile very recently, while WoW has picked up its game, quite literally. Talk to me in the comments below, tell me if you're back in WoW and if this guide helped you, or perhaps you've never left. Thanks for watching, talk to you next time.